Well, good morning and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha television. Well, there has been a big relief for the common man because petrol pumps will accept debit and credit cards as the government has stepped in. All the details on that big story. Also, we take a very close look at the Akhnur attack. Now, 3 laborers have been killed after the militants raided the GREF camp. Area has been cordoned off in Jammu. All the details on that as well, starting with the headlines. Petrol pump owners defer decision to not accept card payments till 13th of January. Government intervenes after banks decide to levy merchant discount rate following the expiry of 50-day window post-note ban. 3 workers of the General Reserve Engineer Force killed in militant attack at camp in Akhnur. Area cordoned off. Army camps across the state put on alert. Mulayam faction in Samajwadi Party to meet Election Commission today with the affidavits of supporting legislators. Mulayam says he is still the chief of the party. Cold wave conditions intensify in several states in North India. Snowfall continues in Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal Pradesh. Much of Europe also in grip of a severe cold. 20 deaths reported so far. And 4 soldiers killed after a Palestinian man drives a lorry into them in Jerusalem. 17 others have been injured. Attacker shot dead. Well, our top focus this morning on 3 civilians working as laborers were killed today in a pre-dawn terror attack by militants on a General Engineering Reserve Force camp near the line of control in Akhnur sector of Jammu. Now, 2 or more militants attacked the General Engineering Reserve Force or the GREF camp around 1 a.m. near LOC in Battal village. Now, militants likely infiltrated from across the border to carry out their terror attack. Now, troops along with the police have cordoned off the area and a counter operation has started now. Now, a senior police officer said that all the routes to the area have been plugged and the operation is in full swing. All army camps in Jammu and Kashmir have also been put on high alert. All right, for more details on this story, let's go across to local journalist Shakti Sharma, who's joining us on the phone line. Good morning, Shakti. Now, 3 laborers of the General Reserve Engineering Force have been killed near the line of control. Tell us the details of what is happening on the ground.
The attack of last night, 3 GREF employees are killed. About 1:15 a.m. early in the morning, terrorist attack near the LOC village of Battal area of Akhnur sector. All the near camp of army cordon and search operation launched in this area. And I think army report, official army man said 3 or 4 militants are in this area and cordon the army.
All right, we'll seem to have lost contact with our colleague there. Of course, this is one big story that we'll keep tracking through the day. Remember, this is this year's first attack in the Jammu region, where 3 civilians who were working as laborers were killed today in a pre-dawn terror attack by the militants on a General Engineering Reserve Force camp in the Akhnur sector of Jammu and Kashmir. Of course, we'll keep tracking all those developments very, very closely. On to some other news now. Well, the Mulayam Singh Yadav camp in the Samajwadi Party is expected to submit affidavits of its supporters to the Election Commission today. Well, the poll body had asked both the factions in the party to submit signed affidavits before 9th of January. Now, the Akhilesh faction submitted its affidavits on Saturday, claiming support of 90% of the legislators. The Mulayam camp, however, has alleged that the signatures in the affidavits are forged and that its authenticity is doubtful. On the other hand, Mulayam Singh has also questioned the legality of the convention called by Ram Gopal Yadav, which ousted him as the party president. He asserted that he is still the party chief and that his brother Shivpal is still the president of the Uttar Pradesh unit of the party.
रामपाल ने बुलाया लखनऊ में, जबकि हम उनको 6 साल के लिए निकाल चुके हैं। तो निष्कासित दल को समाजवादी पार्टी का 9 जनवरी का 2017 का जो एडमिशन बनाया है डॉक्टर रामपाल जी ने, वो फर्जी है। मैं समाजवादी पार्टी का राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष हूँ, तो अखिलेश यादव मुख्यमंत्री हूँ। जो और सारी जो चर्चाएं हैं वे बुनियाद हैं। मैं राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष हूँ और अखिलेश यादव मुख्यमंत्री हैं उत्तर प्रदेश के, और शिवपाल उत्तर प्रदेश के अध्यक्ष हैं।
हमारे पास भी बहुत लोगों की शिकायत है, फर्जी हस्ताक्षर हैं। एक एक हस्ताक्षर उनकी जेन्युइनिटी क्या है, और वो सभी जो एफिडेविट दिए गए हैं, जो उसका पुलिंदा दिया गया है, उसमें कितने ऐसे लोग हैं जो 1 जनवरी 2017 के अधिवेशन बुलाए जाने के बाद उनकी नियुक्ति हुई है, क्योंकि अब तो दफ्तर भी दखल किए जा रहे हैं। तो ये लोकशाही की प्रक्रिया है। समाजवादी पार्टी के घोषित सिद्धांत के संविधान के अनुसार इसका निर्णय होगा। इलेक्शन कमीशन एक क्वाज़ी जुडिशियल बॉडी है, इसको न्यायिक प्रक्रिया भी करती है।
देखिए, ऐसा है, साइकिल का निशान तो अखिलेश यादव को ही मिलना चाहिए, क्योंकि तमाम ऐसे फैसले सुप्रीम कोर्ट और स्वयं इलेक्शन कमीशन के हैं कि जब ये क्रिस्टल क्लियर हो कि ये गुट भारी बहुमत में है स्पष्ट रूप से, तो पार्टी उसी के पक्ष में इलेक्शन कमीशन फैसला देता है। लेकिन इलेक्शन कमीशन का निर्णय अंतिम होता है, वो बाइंडिंग है। वो अगर नहीं मानता है, वो कहता है कि नहीं पार्टी में स्प्लिट हो गई है, 2 ग्रुप हैं, तो जो चुनाव चिन्ह होगा हमारे लिए, तो हमारे कार्यकर्ताओं के लिए, तो हमारे मतदाताओं के लिए तो अखिलेश यादव ही चुनाव चिन्ह।
जो भी हम हूँ नेताजी की वजह से हूँ, और हम नेताजी के साथ हैं। हर स्थिति में, हर परिस्थिति में हम नेताजी के साथ हैं। और जो मैंने कहा कि उनके आदेश, जो भी आदेश होगा, हम उसे मानेंगे।
All right, my colleague Panchanan Mishra is tracking all those developments very, very closely. Panchanan, now Samajwadi Party founder Mulayam Singh Yadav is going to meet the Election Commission today to stake claim on SP party's symbol cycle. What is going on? Has he reached the Election Commission?
No, Aishwarya, Mulayam Singh Yadav faction is set to meet Election Commission today around 1 p.m. Amar Singh will be also with him. Earlier, Mulayam Singh Yadav, Amar Singh also met Election Commission once before 1 week back. But
yes,
today they will approach to Election Commission and will seek that the papers submitted by Ram Gopal Yadav, the Akhilesh Yadav Yadav faction, is not genuine, and they are questioning the genuinity of these papers, these affidavits. So the Mulayam Singh Yadav camp is scheduled to stake claim that Samajwadi Party, he owns Samajwadi Party, and still he is the boss of Samajwadi Party, and he is national president of Samajwadi Party, and the symbol should go with him. This is the real question that Mulayam Singh Yadav is set to claim before Election Commission today.
Right, Panchanan, we would like to know now what step really is the Election Commission likely to take, and how many days will it take in case the two warring factions continue to not reconcile to any is there a possibility of both the SP factions actually losing this party symbol, and what else can happen?
Yeah, sure. It's very likely that the Election Commission might freeze the election symbol because the election is very near, and it will be very difficult for the Election Commission to examine all the affidavits submitted by Ram Gopal Yadav faction, because it's more than 1 lakh papers submitted to Election Commission by Ram Gopal Yadav, and it's very hard and very difficult to examine examine these papers by Election Commission. So that it is very likely that Election Commission is may freeze the election symbol, because and also the Akhilesh Yadav faction is also claiming that on this cycle symbol. But the many political analysts are saying that Akhilesh Yadav wants to contest these elections on his own. So he is ready for the new symbol, for his new team, for his new faces.
Right.
So he might not be in very difficulty with this series of election symbol cycle.
All right. So if the two factions really fail to resolve their differences, the Election Commission actually might freeze the party symbol, and that is the very likelihood that we can see at this moment. Thank you so much, Panchanan, for all those details there. All right, let's move on to the other top focus. Well, petrol pump owners have deferred their decision not to accept credit and debit card payments for fuel sales till 13th of January. Well, the decision was taken after banks put off the move to levy transaction charges. Now, the late evening turnaround came after the government's intervention after receiving letter from the fuel associations informing the finance ministry about the sudden decision taken by the banks. Well, the petrol dealers, remember, had announced earlier that starting midnight, they would not accept debit as well as credit cards of banks that would levy the extra charge. The government, remember, had waived the merchant discount rate on fuel purchase post demonetization. But after the expiry of the 50-day window, the banks have decided to levy this MDR on petrol pump owners. Now, this means that the petrol pump owners had to bear 1% on all the credit card transactions and between 0.25% to 1% on all the debit card transactions starting from 9th of January.
हमारी बैंकों से ऑयल मार्केटिंग कंपनियों की निगोशिएशन हो रही है, चर्चा चल रही है। फिलहाल कल सुबह से जो एमडीआर लगने की बात थी उसको अभी स्थगित रखा गया है कुछ दिनों के लिए। इस 2-3 चीज बहुत स्पष्ट है, ग्राहकों को इस प्रकार की कोई सरचार्ज नहीं लगेगी। पेट्रोल पंप वाले थोड़ा चिंतित है कि क्या उनके ऊपर आ जाएगा। मैं उनको आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं, उनके ऊपर भी नहीं आएगी।
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced a skill development program for youths seeking job opportunities abroad. Now, he announced that the Pravasi Kaushal Vikas Yojana while addressing the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Bangalore on Sunday. Well, the Prime Minister also urged people to convert their PIO or the People of Indian Origin cards to OCI or the Overseas Indian Citizens cards. He also announced that the deadline now has been extended till 30th of June this year, saying it will not attract any penalty. Remember, the earlier deadline was 30th of December last year.
For those workers who seek economic opportunities abroad, our effort is to provide maximum facilitation and ensure least inconvenience. Our motto is सुरक्षित जाएं, प्रशिक्षित जाएं, विश्वास के साथ जाएं। For this, we have streamlined our systems and taken several measures to safeguard immigration of Indian workers. The migrating Indian workers enjoy better economic opportunities. We will shortly launch a skill development program, the Pravasi Kaushal Vikas Yojana, targeted at Indian youth who seek overseas employment. Like my request at the last Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, I would again encourage all PIO card holders to convert their PIO cards to OCI cards. मैं बोल तो रहता हूं, आग्रह भी करता हूं, लेकिन मैं जानता हूं कि आप लोग बहुत व्यस्त हैं और इसके लिए ये शायद काम रह जाता है। तो आपकी इस व्यस्तता को देखते हुए आई एम हैप्पी टू अनाउंस दैट वी हैव एक्सटेंडेड द डेडलाइन फॉर सच कन्वर्सन फ्रॉम 31st December 2016 until June 30, 2017 without any penalty.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi also met French Foreign Minister Jean-Marc Ayrault on the sidelines of the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas in Bangalore on Sunday. But the two leaders discussed a wide spectrum of issues, including defence and terrorism. The French side said that the bilateral ties should move forward with the speed of a Rafale fighter jet. Now, during the talks, both leaders had considerable discussions on international terrorism, of which both the nations are victims. Now, the leaders reaffirmed a close strategic partnership between the two countries, and they also discussed about the cooperation in civil energy with specific reference to the Jaitapur nuclear plant.
There was a comprehensive review of bilateral relations, including defense, where Prime Minister Modi reiterated the call for Make in India in defense. They also discussed cooperation in civil nuclear energy, with particular reference to the Jaitapur nuclear power plant, and space, where both sides acknowledged the significant potential for win-win partnerships, given India's demonstrated capabilities for low-cost launches. There was considerable discussion between the two sides on international terrorism. As you know, both India and France have been victims of terrorism. In this context, both sides also reiterated the need for early finalization of the Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism.
Well, we'll slip into a very short break here. We'll be back with more news. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome to India's World.
Rohingyas are not really an ethnic group. It is a political construction.
It's not only the position against the Rohingyas. You have to recognize that there is a communal problem out there, which is an anti-Muslim problem.
The Haraka al-Yaqeen has linkages and has patrons and has inspiration from the broader Islamist jihadist movement and in fact support.
Watch experts debate Myanmar crisis as it pushes Rohingyas to extremism. Only on India's World on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back. Now, dismissing opposition's allegation that the budget was scheduled keeping in view the state elections. Now, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley has said that the budget date was decided much before the announcement of the election dates. Now, addressing a BJP rally in Amritsar, Jaitley said that advancing the budget is aimed at dispensing next year's expenses from 1st of April. Now, political parties including Congress, Left, Samajwadi Party and the BSP have voiced a reservation against the budget presentation just before state elections in 5 states, as they feel that the budget may be used to announce SOPs to influence voters.
बजट और फाइनेंस बिल 31 मार्च से पहले पास हो जाए ताकि जो अगले साल का खर्चा है 1 अप्रैल से शुरू हो पाए। पुरानी व्यवस्था में क्या होता था कि जब ये मई के महीने में पास होता था और जब तक पैसा डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते थे तो बरसात आ जाती थी और फिर खर्चा बरसात के बाद अक्टूबर में शुरू होता था। कभी आज तक ये परंपरा नहीं रही कि राज्यों की चुनाव की वजह से हम तारीख स्थगित करें और इसलिए जो एक बजट के संबंध में चुनावों के दौरान एक अनुशासन और परंपरा है, हम उसी के मुताबिक चलेंगे।
Also, Arun Jaitley played down the trouble that people face due to demonetization, saying that the days of queuing outside banks and ATMs are now gone.
पर्याप्त करेंसी बाजार में आ चुकी है और अगले कुछ दिनों में और आती रहेगी।
On to some other news now. Well, former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh will release the Congress's manifesto for Punjab today. Well, the release will be coupled with parallel releases at Chandigarh and district levels. Also, the manifesto will be released in the presence of top state leaders, including Punjab Congress Chief Amarinder Singh, Chairperson of the manifesto drafting panel Rajinder Bhattal. Now, various measures for the welfare of farmers, Dalits and other sections of society are likely to be promised in the manifesto. Well, it is also expected today that former BJP leader Navjot Singh Sidhu will announce his joining the Congress. On Sunday, senior BJP leader and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley addressed a gathering in Amritsar and said that the BJP candidates for the polls will be announced in the next 3 to 4 days. And the Aam Aadmi Party has promised the creation of 50,000 jobs in the next 5 years if it is voted to power in Goa. While addressing a rally in the coastal state, party convener Arvind Kejriwal said that he will support existing and new industries and will also back entrepreneurs. Well, he also assured a rehabilitation fund of 400 crore rupees for the victims of iron ore mining ban in place till 2014 in Goa. Remember, Goa is going to polls on 4th of February. While during his speech, he accused both the Congress and the BJP of causing miseries to people living in the mining belt. He also assured to reverse the controversial order that officially withdrew the tree status to the coconut palm within 3 days if he is voted to power. In January last year, the Goa Assembly had passed a controversial amendment to the Goa Daman and Diu Protection of Trees Act, formally de-recognizing the coconut palm as a tree. Let's get you the weather update now. And the cold wave conditions are further intensified in North India with a fresh spell of moderate snowfall. At least 41 trains are running late, 9 have been rescheduled and 3 were cancelled due to the dense fog there. Well, after remaining cut off for 2 consecutive days due to heavy snowfall, the Srinagar-Jammu National Highway reopened partially for traffic. The move comes after improvement in weather. Well, the 300-kilometer arterial highway was cleared of snow and the debris on Sunday, which was left behind by landslides at few places. Now, the Met Department has issued a medium-range danger avalanche warning for some avalanche-prone districts, and the people have been advised not to venture into such areas. Meanwhile, in Himachal Pradesh, heavy snowfall has choked the hill towns there, bringing normal life to a standstill. The untimely snowfall and rains has also drastically dropped the temperatures in various parts of the state. Now, telecommunication, power and water supply have also been disrupted, and a large number of tourists were also stranded due to the snowfall. Now, the Met Department has warned of more snow in the coming days. Also, cold wave conditions prevailed in Punjab and Haryana, with Chandigarh registering a low of 8 degrees Celsius. Also, Patna is expected to experience a foggy morning today that would be followed by sunshine later.
रास्ते बंद हैं, 2 दिन से बिजली नहीं है, पानी नहीं है, टंकियां जाम हैं, पाइप जाम है और जो डेली नीड्स होती थी दूध, ब्रेड, ये सब चीज़ें ये तो कल से बंद है.
Meanwhile, cold weather has also gripped much of Europe amid icy temperatures from Poland to Turkey. Now, 20 deaths have been reported as a result of the freezing weather conditions there. Now, Italy saw ferries and flights cancelled, and schools in the south are also closed today. Airports in Sicily, Bari and Brindisi were closed on Saturday as well. Rome also saw freezing temperatures. Now, Turkey has also been badly affected. In Poland, at least 12 people have reportedly died in the past couple of days following a brutal snow snap that saw temperatures fall to minus 14 degrees Celsius. Now, night temperature in Russia has plunged to minus 30 degrees Celsius. The country experienced its coldest Christmas in 120 years. Also, normally milder Greece has witnessed temperatures of minus 15 degrees Celsius in the north, where one person also died of cold last week and roads were closed. In Athens, the temperatures failed to rise above the freezing limits, and several of the islands were covered in snow. However, no respite is in the offing because cold weather is expected to continue in much of Europe.
Η κατάσταση είναι δύσκολη, χιόνια πολλά, όλη νύχτα περάσαμε δύσκολη βραδιά. Ευτυχώς έχουμε τη βοήθεια και του ΣΠΑΠ, έχουμε μισθώσει μηχανήματα και του Δήμου τα μηχανήματα και έχουμε τους δρόμους ανοιχτούς και δεν υπάρχουν προβλήματα, αλλά το χιόνι είναι πολύ.
Meanwhile, 4 soldiers were killed in Jerusalem by a Palestinian man who drove a lorry into a group of soldiers. Well, the driver plowed a truck into a group of Israeli soldiers as they were getting off a bus in Jerusalem on Sunday afternoon. And the dead included 3 female soldiers and 1 male soldier. 17 others were injured. Now, the police called the episode an act of terrorism. The attacker was later shot dead. Security had been heightened throughout the city in response. Now, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the scene of the attack and has said that the perpetrator was in all indications a supporter of the Islamic State. The US State Department and the European Union have issued a condemnation. Now, the Palestinian militant group, however, praised the attacker. It is noteworthy that before this incident, 35 Israelis have been killed in a wave of knife, gun and car ramming attacks by Palestinians since October 2015. More than 200 Palestinians have also been killed in that period. Now, Israel blames a Palestine incitement for the attack, while Palestine says that it was due to frustration rooted in decades of Israeli occupation.
Several buses loaded with soldiers were stopping here today. This is a very popular point, like you mentioned, for tourists, as well as a very popular point for new soldiers who come here and learn about the country, learn about the land. Today, as the soldiers were exiting the bus, a truck that was situated behind rammed up next to the bus and began to injure soldiers.
We've heightened security in and around in Jerusalem in order to make sure there won't be any further terrorist attacks. We're not talking about thousands, we're talking about hundreds of police officers in and around the different areas.
And Iran's ex-president Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani has died at the age of 82 after suffering a heart attack. Now, Rafsanjani was a pivotal figure in the foundation of the Islamic Republic in 1979, but later in life became a counterpoint to the hardline conservatives. Now, he served as the country's president from 1989 to 1997. His presidency was marked by reconstruction, cautious reform and repairs to Iran's relations with its Arab neighbors. But it was also marred by human rights violations, rampant infiltration and difficult relations with Europe. Now, Rafsanjani ran for a third time for the president in 2005, but he lost to Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. Now, there will be 3 days of national mourning. A funeral in Tehran is due on Tuesday, which has been declared a public holiday. Now, President Hassan Rouhani, whom Rafsanjani always backed, tweeted, "The soul of the great man of the revolution, symbol of patience and resistance, has gone to heaven." Now, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, in a statement said that their difference of opinion could never entirely break up the friendship between them.
به حالشون بد شد، به بیمارستان منتقل شدن. اونجا یه تیم پزشکی سعی کردن که احیا کنن، متاسفانه نتونستن احیا بکنن.
طور کاملا ناگهانی دچار ایست کامل قلبی شدند. بلافاصله به نزدیکترین بیمارستان منتقل شدند. در بخش اورژانس تیم پزشکی شامل متخصصین قلب، بیهوشی و طب اورژانس همه اقدامات لازم رو انجام دادند.
یکی از بزرگترین استوانه‌های انقلابیار امامیار حضرت رهبری از دست ما رفت.
On to some sports news now. Well, Rohan Bopanna and Jeevan Neduchezian have notched up a memorable victory in the historic All-Indian doubles final, defeating India's Divij Sharan and Purav Raja 6-3, 6-4 in the Chennai Open final on Sunday. Well, Bopanna and Jeevan won the first set 6-3. After a good start, Raja Sharan fought back to make it 3-all, but Bopanna and Jeevan regained control and crossed the first hurdle very easily. And Raja Sharan also fought back in the second set, but failed in the turning games in their favour. Remember, it was for the first time an ATP 250 event witnessed two Indian teams contesting a final and an Indian team winning at the stadium since Leander Paes and Mahesh Bhupathi triumphed in 2011. That's it from me and my team in this edition of news. But news and updates continue on Rajya Sabha Television. Thanks for watching.